Eric,
Hi, Sam.
good morning.
Good morning. Hmm.
Glad to see you. What's
Good to see you
happened in
too.
the past week?
Well, let's see. The year changed, um, but
A
I've been
minor
okay.
detail.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the impact. Doesn't mean that much, really. It's
Yeah.
every life is a day by day thing. Yeah. Um, I was reading something interesting this morning, and I just want to see if you know this person. Let me just look it up. Um, okay. Do you know Jamais Cassio? Jamais
Not at
Cassio?
all
No.
familiar. No.
Okay, he's with an organization called, hold on, Institute for the Future, iftf.org.
I know
So,
that org, yes.
you- okay,
In Palo
uh,
Alto, I think they are.
they probably, okay. Um, yeah, he wrote some articles on Medium about a framework called BANI. I don't know if you've heard of that framework.
Nope.
Um, no, okay, I'll paste an article. It means brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. So it's like a successor to what was called VOCA, I think. Volatile. Let me get the other one. Um, I'm just looking these up again. Yeah, VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, which seems to be more obsolete these days, and he's replacing it with BANI. And because what we're dealing with these days in terms of sense making, it's dealing with brittle systems that can shatter, being anxious all the time, nonlinear systems, and incomprehensible, especially as we move to more AI. So let me paste this article in chat if you want to take a look. He wrote a book as well. Okay, everyone here. Yeah, it's a Medium article.
If Barry and Jack were with us, I think they would invoke the halls of chaos theory.
Halls of Chaos. Yes. Well, we gotta live with it.
Yeah.
It's not just cellular atom automatons going chaotic. It's more than that. It's humans going chaotic.
Yeah. And it does strike me that all of these words are fear based,
Hmm.
which is not surprising for characterizing the current zeitgeist.
Well, VUCA came out of the military in like the 80s. So, and but I mean that's the
Interesting.
reality we're dealing with. That the world is brittle, and um, yeah.
I think that this will dovetail into another topic which I'll bring up because I was thinking about that earlier. But, it is surprising that for many years, certainly through most of my education, there was an awareness that, yeah, there was climate change. Yeah, there was, war. Yeah, there was other. But the overall trend of civilization seemed to have an upward slant to it.
Yeah, it felt that way. Yep.
It doesn't feel that way anymore.
Hmm.
We're definitely on a downward, much steeper slide.
Well, it's happened throughout history in many different civilizations. I don't think we've ever felt it before. We were born into this
Yeah.
system that it felt like there was ever increasing opportunity, all kinds of possibilities.
And, today I hear analysis that hey, those middle class opportunities that sort of promised a good life, that only lasted like 25 years.
Wow. yeah, it was a unique time,
Yeah,
and but was it a false promise? Yeah.
at least in the US, it appears to be because the people that saw normal people get opportunities, get wealth, said, no, 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 we got to put a stop to this. We can't let people get smarter. We can't let people get more comfortable. We can't let people be able to, just sit back and think. We need to occupy their time so they have no capability or time to think. And think that is an extremely apparent tool of oppression.
That's very interesting. Um, and I'm trying to think, was this like the 60s mentality, counterculture, trying to get to that point with more time and combined with 70s and 80s resulting from that attitude that um, the 80s was a real time of breaking down the traditions of the culture. The,
I don't know much about it since I didn't really live through them. I mean, I was born, but I wasn't really conscious. But I think it
mhm,
started right after the war, right? Right after all that military funding got put back into infrastructure
mhm,
and people got the ability to have single family homes with one working parent,
mhm.
probably the
Yep.
father. And that was what gave rise, I think, to the 60s, where the kids were experimenting with this, that, and the other thing because they now had freedom. And those in power said, no, 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 this is not good.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, do
So
you have a
what?
link to that article?
Oh, I put in chat
It is?
under
Okay. All
everyone.
right.
Yeah, it's a Medium article from 2025. So
Okay.
if you could find it, let me know. If you
Let me
want to.
introduce an idea that I was thinking about, and I wrote up a few lines about it. And then let's see if we can connect the dots because I think it does connect. Okay.
Mhm.
15, 20 years ago, when I first got on, not 20, 15 or 16 years ago, when I first got onto Facebook, maybe 17, one of the most memorable memes that I saw come by my screen was average CEO pay as a multiple of average employee pay in various different countries.
Okay.
And in Japan, I think, and this is 15, 16 years ago. And in Japan, it was somewhere like 40 to 1. And I think in the US, I think it was already like 300 or 400 to 1.
Hmm.
Okay, so that multiple is much worse. It has been much worse in this country than in Japan, where it's much more egalitarian. So I was thinking, how much worse has it gotten? So just a quick set of searches today said, let's take Amazon, for example.
Mhm.
Andy Jassy makes somewhere between 100 million and $200 million a year.
Hmm.
The average employee at Amazon, and depends on how you characterize it, the numbers are
Minimum wage up to some.
30 something up to 60 something thousand. Okay, so it says that, yeah, 32,855.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the median employee compensation. And Jassy's compensation in 2021 was 212 million.
Mm.
So that ratio is about 6,400, 6,474, approximately 6,500.
Wow.
Definitely over 6,000.
Mhm.
And I'm not even sure he's the worst. I mean, I haven't even checked Tesla yet.
So the question is, why does society value CEOs like that? What is it just been like a race that they've all been outbidding each other or getting, like what are the skills that are being rewarded here?
Yeah.
It's all the risk that they're taking on, like are there real strategies or is it just riding the waves of technology and
If you're making $200 million a year, what does risk mean?
yeah, Cory Doctorow touches upon this in some of his novels. The Zadas, the zillionaires who can just drive down the highway and get tickets all they want, no problem.
Yeah. So I thought a little bit further. I thought, how do we characterize this? But a simple multiple is just too easy to get lost in
Yeah.
because what does 5,000 mean versus 6,000? It means nothing to me, right?
Mhm.
On the other hand, does a logarithmic scale make sense? Who just joined us here? Ah,
Jack.
Jack. Jack is here.
Hi, Jack.
So let me finish that sentence and then I'll bring Jack up to speed with context.
Mhm.
Okay. So I thought maybe a linear scale doesn't work. Let me think about a logarithmic scale. And that actually might be a good one because in between the two, I was thinking, might it be good to use a Fibonacci index? You know? So I thought if you had a Fibonacci multiple, that would be bad enough. So then you could index the multiple. Like, the sixth Fibonacci is what? 31, 55, whatever. Okay. Whatever the number to 34 or 55 or 21, somewhere in that range. Okay. So you could actually say, is it this index 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, meaning that's the Fibonacci number that represents the multiple that a CEO makes over the average employee. But then when I look up Andy Jassy's number, I think, wow, the Fibonacci number is not strong enough. Maybe the exponential one is the right way. Because just
Logarithm.
for reference,
Yeah.
Jack, when I looked it up in 2021, this is old data, obviously, Andy Jassy at Amazon made $212 million. And the median Amazon employee was making 32,855, which is a ratio of 6,474, approximately 6,500. And the reason I brought this up is because 16 years ago, when I got onto Facebook, one of the very first memes I saw was that number in the US averaged somewhere around, I don't know, I could be mistaken, somewhere around between 200 and 400. Okay. Higher, probably closer to 200, 400. But in Japan, I think at that time, it was approximately 40. So the CEO was making about 40 times what the average employee was making. But in the US, it was probably about 10 times worse. And it's only gotten worse since. Now, I did look up this morning what it was in Japan today. And I said, what's the company in Japan that has the highest such ratio? It has gotten worse, but the company is 7-Eleven, which is a US company. So they're being paid according to like US practices. And that's why that company has the highest CEO to employee ratio in Japan. So I haven't done a lot of research yet, but I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I'm trying to come up with a metric that characterizes the the class gap. This is not the only metric, obviously, but it's one interesting metric. And in fact, I might introduce it as one of the different dimensions of evility or evil. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts coming in. That's my check-in. Hopefully, you got some context out of that, Jack. Over for now.
I had a friend many years ago in the fourth community that used Fibonacci numbers to study the stock market.
That's all over the stock market. Fibonacci is all over the stock market.
Yeah.
Not that people understand it, but they just use those points.
They think they're really outsmarting the market.
Yeah, I'll
What I like,
withhold judgment since I'm not an expert there.
Well, I just look at Warren Buffett.
He's one style of investor, arguably a very successful style.
Well, that's the point. He buys value. Now, if you go to Peter Lynch, he bought value, but he also traded.
now the interesting statistic that you mentioned is the median salary at Amazon. Because if that's like 32,000, that means that half of the company is below the poverty level,
Yeah.
right? And that means they have to have multiple incomes in the household or other supplemental jobs. While now, I want to tell you about an experiment when I was working as an employee. There came a time when a group of us were getting together and yeah, go ahead to get your tea. Um, there was a time when a group of about 10 of us who had been employees were thinking about starting our own consulting and like selling the services back to our company. And we met for a few weeks and thought about, yeah, well, we're all skilled programmers and we have ideas, but there was something going on politically that made us feel that it would be better for us to consult outside of that company. So we worked it out, and we had a person. Well, we had uh, what we came up when we presented it to our boss. He commented, "Oh, that would never work. It's a socialist scheme." That he felt like that the distribution of our salaries or income, like if we had our own company, he felt that no, there's a reason why the CEO of that company has to have a differential from the employees. And that was very interesting to hear it coming from the boss who I had worked for many years and trusted.
And you
Well,
probably thought he was a good person, right?
it's a little bit like you know, the hierarchy in the military.
Hmm.
There, it's the amount of responsibility. When you work in a factory, your job is to drive those rivets or drill those holes or solder those devices or whatever.
Write the
And
code.
that's all you have to do, and it's all you have to know.
Hmm.
Whereas the CEO has got to know, all about economics and marketing and blah, 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 and et cetera, even though he delegates a lot to a lot of other people. He's got, the buck stops there. So I can understand a CEO making more than the employees, but I can also not understand how stockholders voted in the salary for Musk that they just did. He has not been a great CEO.
Yeah, how is he evaluated?
Well, fear.
Yeah, stock price or yeah.
Stock price was in the process of tanking when they did it. He went out and single-handedly destroyed the Tesla brand.
Hmm.
So why would they give him so much money to run Tesla? I mean, I remember seeing Teslas in the Vaughn's parking lot for $20,000, $22,000 for sale signs on them.
Hmm.
People wanting to get rid of them as quick as they could.
But how are his other businesses related? Like, is it a holding company for SpaceX and the others, or do you know that?
Well, we don't. I don't actually. I can't claim to know anything about that, but they certainly are incestuous.
Mhm. And the word incestuous makes me think of AI companies.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sam, you're
Sorry.
breaking up.
Check your microphone, Sam. Your internet.
Oh. Still breaking up. Must be the satellites.
Mm, the Starlink satellites just
Yeah,
heard.
he's busy hopping from satellite to
Testing, testing,
satellite.
testing, testing,
There you
testing.
Okay,
go.
better. Yep.
Okay, let's try that other one again.
Now, testing, 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 testing,
Okay.
testing.
That's reasonable.
Okay, all right. I was experimenting with the mute button on these headphones, but once I mute and come back, that's when it went really bad, strangely.
Yep.
Mhm.
Ay, ay, ay. Too bad.
Mickey
So
Mouse. Yeah, there
I
you
was about to say that even though I think in April the stock did tank, I haven't checked it lately, but it did bounce back, I recall. And
A
there's still a
little.
lot of people trading Tesla, which I think represents not just cars, but batteries and his robot, his humanoid, what is he calling it? He's got a name for that domestic robot that he's building. So I think Tesla is not singularly just producing electric cars. Oh, by the way, those electric batteries that you could, just attach to the side of your house, aren't those also Tesla branded?
They are.
Yeah.
The ones that he sells are, yes. There are other brands of them, but yes.
Right, 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 right. Right.
And some of them have a history of blowing up and some of them don't.
Well, I think in his testing, those Tesla cars, I read something that they have killed about 100 people in testing. I don't think that's very much publicized. So the reason I was doing this, as I said, was to come at multiple different facets of, well, let's just call it evil for now. Like, what is wrong? Why do people have such twisted notions of how society ought to work? And one of the dimensions is this disparity and this, because this clearly is a power uh, mechanism. Another one, by the way, is currency exchanges and rates and the people that control them. And that's how Africa has been oppressed for decades. You know, I think there was Asia, then there was Europe, then there's the US. Now there's going to be a resurgence of, I think, BRICS, maybe Europe, but decades after that will be Africa's turn. So that is a big, long arc of history across millennia. And unfortunately, we didn't last even half as long as the Roman Empire. Roman Empire lasted at least twice as long as the US.
Well, there's some evidence that climate change is going to take out Africa, and they're all going to want to move north. I mean, it was climate change that destroyed the crops in Syria that started the Syrian war.
So, would you say North Africa or into Europe?
Well, they're so it's hard to know how much north means,
Hmm.
but we do know that a shitload of them from Somalia are trying to get into Greece and Italy and let's just say Europe. So
Yeah.
um, there's always that.
If I look at a different lens, okay, the lens that says rich people don't care whether the rest of the world lives or dies, as long as they've taken care of themselves. And then you look at who's building, bunkers in Hawaii or elsewhere. It all makes sense.
Montana.
It all makes sense. They've been
Right.
planning this for a long time.
Are they repurposing missile silos as bunkers?
Yeah, those are a real hoot. Those are a real hoot.
Anyway, how goes it, Kayla? Welcome.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
Um, I was talking about companies and one aspect of how they can be evil, but we don't have to talk about that. I was just doing a little bit of research on Amazon and Japanese companies.
Ah,
I had the impression that 7-Eleven was a Japanese company because there's more of them in Japan than there are here.
They're held by a U.S. company, a U.S. holding company.
But the ones in Japan are better than the ones here.
Oh, much, much better. The food is fresh.
Oh
They've
yes,
got things we don't have.
I know. I really preferred going into 7-Eleven for lunch than going to a Japanese restaurant because I could buy what I could eat.
Right, because they refresh the items regularly. They don't leave old, stale, rotten food out. So it's reputedly always fresh. Now, granted, I haven't been back there in over a decade. Has it been 2 decades? Holy smokes!
Well,
But I watch
it's
all these
been
videos, and they're just awesome.
oh yeah, it's been
Nobody
a
looks
decade
down
for
at
me.
you for going to
Yep,
7-Eleven in Japan. It's a regular thing.
yep,
Hawaii is the same way.
7-Eleven there?
No, yeah, the 7-Eleven's pretty decent. I wouldn't say that I would get all my meals from 7-Eleven, but they have like spam musubis of different kinds. They have they even have a lot of fresh sandwiches and fresh food, a lot more than we have over
yep,
here.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Now I'm trying to think. I've only been on the ground on the Big Island, and I don't recall seeing a 7-Eleven on the Big Island.
I think you
No,
might
there
want to go
isn't
to
many.
Oahu. Yeah,
Oahu, but yeah, because that's where the people are.
yeah.
That's why I don't go to Oahu.
I've only been to three of those islands: Oahu, Maui, and Kauai. So anyway, that's what we were talking about. I was trying to figure out, and just to close that theme, in either 2021 or 2023, I think it's 2023 according to this reference. Andy Jassy at Amazon, who's the CEO, his salary is 1.36 million, but his total comp is over 200 million, including stock. And the median Amazon employee in 2021, it doesn't have a 2023 number, was about $33,000 US. So, Amazon responding. So that's a ratio of about 6,500. CEOs making about 6,500 times more than the median employee, which means it's worse for half of them, as Eric pointed out.
Another thing about Amazon, um, they get away with a lot in terms of the buildings and property taxes. They get rebates, and while the people in the communities, we had a reassessment in Delaware, and a lot of property taxes went up. And for seniors, it's terrible because if they can't afford it, they're in trouble. So, but Amazon, they get away with things. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so long as these companies are rich enough to say, oh, you don't you don't want to give us 1% tax rate, I'm gonna go to name it, Delaware or overseas or India or wherever. I think they shouldn't be allowed to do that. If they're actually extracting from the local economy, they ought to be able to give back to the local economy. And companies have a great tax system with all of their lobbyists and all of their, purchased Congress people and purchased senators to structure the tax system so they can just retain their profits and not put it back into society. So, yeah, it's a standard thing. 95% of the US is fighting over 8% of the assets. And so we think, oh, that person's the problem. They shouldn't be eating chocolate. And they don't see what the billionaires are doing with all the yachts and all the gold bars. That was the research I was doing on CEO and average or median employee compensation and trying to figure out where that has changed in the last 15 years.
So happy New Year, everybody.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now, okay? You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Somehow we have to figure out how to live good lives despite what everything else going on.
Oh, I said I would shut up.
Hmm. It's like you have to compartmentalize your brain. Okay, well, that's the news. That's money. And then, okay, what's left? Well, I got music stuff going on tomorrow. Okay, yay.
Yeah. Tell us about the new gig.
Um, well, I have two rehearsals tomorrow. One of them is for choir, and we're doing an event at the end of the month, two events at the end of the month, and then the other one is for the Purim play. Um, so yeah, that's it's a challenge for me to get the notes under my fingers on piano, just enough to sound good enough. um, but I got a video from the chorus that I sang in at the end of the year, and it's interesting, reliving just a half hour of singing with the group, and I'm realizing, yeah, it was a lot of work that went into it each week just to learn our parts, but the conductor had a strategy there to like mix some traditional and beautiful songs with some fun things. And yeah, it was for an older audience, but they enjoyed it. A lot of applause. So I'll be continuing with that in February when the classes start up again. So yeah, you just gotta balance everything in life somehow.
But balance is a moving target.
Oh yeah, feeding dogs. Yep, learn from your dogs. Yeah, I mean, it's a daily attitude choice, just to, you know, get all the compartmentalize all the stuff that doesn't help. And, hmm, and I've gotten some of my older computers running um, things like Windows 98 for music programs that did what I wanted to back then. And, yeah, I got a piece of software running for music appreciation that only ran on that old machine, Windows 98. So that was nice to see. So I posted an article in the chat earlier. I'll just post it again. It's from Medium from 2025. And it's about a framework called BANI, brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible, which sort of describes the world today. And a guy who wrote a book called Navigating the Age of Chaos. So it's a sense-making framework to help us deal with the craziness in the world as we go. Now I did create a YouTube of it, but YouTube is still processing it for over 3 hours. So maybe YouTube is failing. I don't know. So I'm aware of all these dependencies. I think it's good for us to be aware of what we're dependent on.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lull in the conversation. And even though I'm still feeding my dogs,
Mhm.
I had another list of questions that I thought I'd bring up if there was a lull of the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I introduced something that I had seen called Project 2028. And 2028 was something that was trying to bring the company back on track. And just to be really quick, I'm just going to read you like the 10 items that 2028 was focused on. So, real quick, it was overturn Citizens United, codify women's right to choose, term limits for SCOTUS, get rid of the Electoral College, outlaw gerrymandering nationwide, rank choice voting in all elections, fairness doctrine in the media, universal health care for everybody, ban stock trading by Congress or any other representatives while they're holding office, cap Congress salary at 1.5 times the median income of their district, cap CEO pay at 35x the lowest paid full-time employee, which is similar to what I introduced earlier, but this is the lowest paid employee, and it was 35x. Okay, tax billionaires out of existence, tax unrealized gains used as loan collateral, tax megachurches, and increase the federal minimum wage to $20 an hour. So when I introduced it, I thought, good list, good start, not great. And I've got a few other items, and a few of the other ones are, not well defined. So anyway, I introduced that, and I think we had a good discussion on that. But then I thought meta on that, not specifically what else ought to be, but for each one of these, I would like to ask the following questions. So the questions I would ask is, even if one of these were ones that you wanted to work on or ones that you would support or fund, here's a following list of questions that I would ask on each of them. What is the target objective? Can you define it? How do we get to that target objective? What is the very first step? Like, what can we do right now to get there? What could possibly negate those efforts? How do we negate those objections? Whom could we recruit so that we can raise the odds on each of these initiatives? And then meta on that is, are these the right questions? What are the right questions to ask if we're trying to work on improving this country, and hopefully, more than just this country, but let's start with this country. So those were some questions that I was bouncing around in my head. So first set of questions is Project 2028, specific initiatives. That's like the A level stuff. If Jack knows that terminology. And the B would be the list of questions that I already just went through. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. And then the C would be looking at how do we improve that list of questions and how we think about this and how do we put it into the right framework, etc. So that's what I was thinking about. Over. All right. Do those questions make sense?
Yeah, from an analytical way of thinking, the way you always do, it makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering, are you underestimating the conservative movement across the country and the pressures that these initiatives would face?
Good question. I don't know. But would that materially change the questions?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see lots of conservative arguments going against those principles. And um, yeah, who is to um, decide? Or like you try to advance it, but I could see, yeah, a lot of opposition.
Right. I clearly think that there will be opposition because otherwise, these things would be taken for granted.
Yeah,
But given that conservatives are fighting to create the opposite of most of these things, that's why we have to think, what would they do if we tried to advance these initiatives, and how do we then contend with those objections? Over.
and my other question is, do you have examples around the world where these have been tried and success stories or anything like that?
What country was it? One of the greatest countries down in South America, when their government when their president tried to negate the elections and take over power, they imprisoned him. They judged him and they imprisoned him. What country was that? It was not too long ago. It's in the last few years. Bolsonaro, was that the guy? Anyway, I'm using proof points like that, existence proofs, to say, yeah, it's possible. Countries have done it. There's another case where I think in Brazil, decades ago, the currency was going through the roof with inflation, and quicker than anybody imagined. I believe they redefined or reintroduced a new currency, and it has since stabilized. Maybe not as much as they want, but certainly much, much more than it was when it was like triple-digit inflation.
So the idea of having 50 states in the United States was to have 50 laboratories, and then that would give the country examples of success stories and failures, and could that be extended to the world using world examples? And but that's just high. That's just thinking off the cuff. I have no idea how to do that.
Okay. In this lull, I will tell another story. In my last year at Stanford, I had to get a general ed requirement out of the way. So I took a political science class in my senior year at Stanford. And that entailed writing a paper, a research paper. And I chose to write it on Taiwan independence and the independence movement. Obviously, something very familiar to me, very relevant to my family and me. So when I did research into those movements, I found out there were many independence movements. There was World United for Muslims for Independence. There was Taiwanese Americans for Independence. There were like dozens, about half a dozen really big and dozens of other ones. Okay. And I thought, why can't we all work together? Each has a small effect, but why can we not all work together? Why isn't there one strong movement? And I was never able to fully answer that question. I think they're all working towards the right objectives, which is Taiwan independence. That's obviously from a very biased point of view. Okay. But whereas the opposition was singular, it was the KMT, it was the Kuomintang Party. That was it. But the opposition was fragmented. So that's why I think now, if I'm to apply that insight here, and by the way, this is foundational to my interest in collaborology, is how do we go from fragmentation to effective scaling? I clearly don't know the answer, okay, but that's my interest, and that's why I'm continuing to think about this.
Yeah, according
Over.
to Engelbart, you need something very different in order to scale.
Yes.
A totally different approach and system. And I don't know if he ever figured it out.
I really appreciate bringing that up because for me, that's why I didn't want to be or have a central organization that just told everybody else what to do because that's clearly, not the right model in my mind. Okay. And that's why, if you remember, I haven't brought it up in months. Okay. But the COI, the community of impact, is not defined by any such structure. It's defined by a set of principles and it hopes that various small groups act together and create this mesh of small groups, all basically adhering to the foundational principles. And I call that, seeding the DNA of scalable collaboration. Now, I haven't ever shown it, I haven't proven it, it hasn't taken root yet. So I'm not sure that those foundational principles are the right ones yet. But I do believe that when the right ones get put together in the right way, then it's just like, all of a sudden, the ice spreads. All you need is the first little ice crystal, and then the rest of it, aligns. That's what I'm hoping. That's the vision in my mind.
I've heard Al Gore refer to that as the sand pile theory. So like you keep having drops of sand going on a pile, and after a long time, there will be a landslide.
Mhm.
But did we
Did
move
you
on?
folks see this morning's headlines?
About World War III?
Well,
about
maybe it
Venezuela.
starts by capturing Maduro.
Yeah. Trump is trying to start World War III, right?
So it would seem.
We just need to put him out of his misery. Anything he can do to distract, the attention on the Epstein files and his murderous core and his child raping core. That's all he's trying to do is just distract us from that. And it's working. Is it lucky for me to find a lucky dime on the floor of my own house? Or is it a sign that I'm just so disorganized? And
Well, if you find a penny, hold on to it. It may be worth something.
well, any coin that has silver is going to be worth something. I'll bring that up later. But yeah, Jack, I think you're onto something. What headline were you referring to? Was it the Maduro
The,
headline?
well, I started Google News, and Google News captures three or four or five of the top headlines, and fundamentally they said that we bombed Venezuela and captured Maduro.
And where is the top military echelon who swore to uphold the Constitution and not follow illegal commands?
Maduro is captured and flown out of the country.
Okay, so what did we install in his place?
Oh Christ! I haven't read that far. I just look at the headlines in the morning,
We've turned into a shithole country.
and I kind of get a giggle out of what Mamdani did on his first day.
I didn't
Yes.
He
catch that
re-
yet.
he succeeded in pissing off Israel.
Hmm.
Good. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to be pissed off at Israel, but when I read that article about the soldier pumping the teenager full of bullets, basically,
Yeah,
the title was emptying his magazine, right? Entire magazine into this teenager, and he's got no repercussions that I've been able to detect. Says that the entire country supports that kind of behavior. How can that not be a war crime? How is that not murderous? And add to that the stories of Israeli soldiers raping women and teenagers and chuckling among themselves after having done so. And again, having no repercussions.
So is there due process to put them on trial?
I'm hoping eventually, yes. I don't see it yet. I don't see any such activity in Israel. No mention of it.
Because we dealt with that with Guantanamo. With,
Are you talking about the torture videos that came out of there where
yeah,
guys
there
were
was
stripped naked and
things
made
like
fun
that.
of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that came out, and I don't remember what happened, but there was a process to deal with it.
I don't recall any of the soldiers going to prison for that. Does anybody? So I've taken one more step towards moving to a different place. This past week, I actually signed the rental agreement for one of my places. Now I got to focus on this one here. But hey, every time I talk, it's like, I'm taking you guys down, and the energy I'm producing is not good. So I keep saying I'm going to shut up, but I don't. So I'm going to shut up and let the awkwardness last longer.
Why would you do that?
Because I'd be known for being Debbie Downer too much if I keep going.
Oh, you are a heavy downer. So what?
Oh, it's like the saying, if you're not pissed off by now, then you're not paying attention.
Well, Sam, you're not the kind of guy that can piss me off.
I haven't tried yet, Jack.
Well, go for it. Make my day.
I'd be much more effective if you came up here and visited again, or if I come down and visit you. I could do it in person.
That would be fun.
Hey, if I went down to Southern California, you, I, and Kayla could get together for like a coffee.
Well, I'm a long drive from Ventura. You may not know what Los Angeles freeways are like, but what used to be a pleasant hour and a half drive is now 3 to 4 hours.
Really? When I used to go visit my dad in Irvine, I used to be able to drive to San Diego in like 75 minutes.
Yeah, well, Irvine to San Diego is a different animal, but the central valley of LA is now basically gridlock.
So what is that estimate to go from, let's say, Ventura County to San Diego or Temecula? 3 hours, you say? 3 or 4 hours?
It would easily be that.
Really? Okay, that's not a coffee get together.
No, it's not.
Ay, ay, ay.
But we're closer to Tom Munneke and Pete Kaminsky and others, and we can also go to the San Diego Zoo.
Okay. Well, part of my reason for coming up with that second list of questions was to try and take a positive path towards coming out of this chaos. That's what it was intended to try and help. You know the list I'm talking about, right? Where do we want to go? How do we get there? What's the first step? Who's going to object? Who's going to work against it? How do we counter those? That's the list of questions I'm trying to figure out.
Get a better understanding of the opposition, do your opposition research.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll introduce another meme that I saw a long time ago, which may be more relevant.
Mm-hmm.
In times of chaos and confusion, you must dance furiously.
Makes sense.
I'd like to do that.
There's a strangely Eastern sound to that.
if you see, I don't know the full attribution, but I believe it may be African,
Hmm.
but it could arise from many different cultures. I can see it, arising in many cultures that celebrate the positive energy.
This morning I was reading a book called Yoga AI by Sunil Malhotra, and that's what led me to that article that I posted. Um, so, yeah, Sunil thinks that there are certain yoga principles that can help us deal with the AI in our lives and just get back to intentionality rather than being led by the algorithms. So it takes time for these things to sink in. I like the idea of it.
Hard times require furious dancing.
Yeah. Did you find the attribution?
Alice Walker. Now, I don't know who Alice Walker is.
Kayla, have you come across that before?
No.
But
I thought it might be one that you might resonate with. Sorry.
you can
Yeah.
buy dancing. We can buy Dance Furiously on Apple Music.
Yeah, I don't think it was the soundtrack I was talking about.
No, no. Alice Walker. I don't know. For all I know, that's a rock singer. Because rock singers cross gender lines for naming.
Eric, you might be. Are the rest of you familiar with a piece from Igor Stravinsky called Le Sac de Printemps?
I know a few Stravinsky pieces, but I haven't heard that title.
I
Is it
think
in
it
English?
translates, and I could be wrong, but it's like, the spring sacred ceremony or something like that.
The Rite of Spring, I
The
know.
rite of spring. That's right. That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
that's what you were saying. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that many times. Very interesting piece.
That has furious dancing.
Hmm. So actually, Disney used that as a soundtrack in Fantasia, and it's like they go back to the beginning of the Earth and walk through using that soundtrack of The Rite of
Yep.
Spring. It's fun.
It's a phenomenal piece.
Yep.
Anytime I hear Stravinsky, it's like, how does human produce this kind of work? I don't understand it.
Yep. And then how do you get people to play it, to learn it and play in the odd rhythms?
Yeah. But when I thought of
And
furious dancing, I thought of that
mm,
piece.
hmm yeah, so I'm trying to like explore various musical styles and see what really gets my attention personally. And yeah, these odd rhythms, I enjoy things like Bela Fleck. Um, but then I try to understand the structure of the composition and then the work required for an orchestra and the chorus to learn these pieces. And there's a lot of work. So the computer can help like with the rhythms and the hearing notes as written, but it's there's a dimension I don't think the computers can capture yet. And I know Jaron Lanier has explored that too, that uh, some exotic instruments that we cannot mechanize.
All right, can I take this theme and make a small trivia question out of it?
Mhm.
For each of us, if I use the phrase furious dancing, what work, what dance, or what music comes to mind for you?
I'm thinking of some Latin dancing from the 80s and 90s, something like the lambada.
Oh, to me, that doesn't look furious. That looks very romantic.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I could be wrong. Kayla, you know what Eric's talking about, right?
Lambada, yeah.
Yeah, does that look furious to you?
No, it does not.
When I say furious dancing, what comes up for you, Kayla?
Oh, my hips. They shake very furiously. I
Do you have a video?
have several videos.
I think we covered this topic on a previous call.
What was I there? Maybe not.
Just,
I don't know.
I think it was just a call about video. Actually, on Thursday, I was on Jerry Mikowski's call, and it was not videoed. It was just check-ins, and I guess he's trying to give people more privacy. So it's interesting how it's changing.
Did people need the privacy? Did they say they needed it?
Well, it's a recent policy that he's put in where he's not videotaping at least that first call each month. So there's no
Wait, he's not
recording.
recording, or the people are not on video, not on camera?
He's not recording that call. So whatever
Ah,
was
okay.
said, it's lost to the ether.
He turns off all of the agents as well.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I find that an interesting change.
Well, it allows people to say things they might not say otherwise.
Right.
I find that curious because I know I say things here that may not reflect well on me, but I have no issue being accountable for what I say on the record. You guys heard of Chatham House rules?
Yeah, I did. I don't remember it.
Yeah, you don't record, you don't report what was done in the meeting, and you never give attribution. You only talk about what was said. And to me, I really don't understand that. I'm in a number of groups, at least two, that try to abide by Chatham House rules, and I do abide, but I really don't understand why. I mean, I hear what people say, but why wouldn't one always be fully accountable for what they say?
I wonder if younger generations have difficulty and need that protection.
Why?
They haven't had the life experience of Sam. There's
Is it
something,
just my life experience that leads me to
well,
think this? It can't be.
something more um, you've become comfortable with it, but I would say a lot of young people are struggling, and I think from the way they've grown up with parents always taking care of them, you're seeing that in the workplace too. That there's a lot of protections that younger people need.
Are they like baby turtles that weren't given the chance to, find their way to the ocean?
Possibly. Um, I saw an interesting video about the psychology of my generation, and I'm in Generation X. And yeah, a lot of us grew up, learning things before computerization, um, and we didn't have all the pressures that young people have today of having their lives on record 24/7. So we were given more of a chance to grow our independence and find out who we were, more chance to experiment than the people younger than us have.
What defines Generation X?
I think it's like 1965 through, um,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, through the 80s.
You're just a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not even a millennial. I was born a year before millennials started.
Well, you're talking about boomer, right? You're
I
definitely not a
I mean,
millennial.
I'm sorry, bloomer. Yes, boomers. Yeah, I'm older than boomers.
Oh, you're the silent generation. That's what they call it.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, and but because that's the people in the World War II didn't want to talk afterwards. But I grew up during the Korean War, and then my teenage years were were bothered by the Vietnam War, and war after war after war.
Is it the US and Russia slash Soviet Union that are the ones that are always perennially at war? Not necessarily with each other, but always occupied with some war at any given time.
Well, there's this thing called proxy wars, where Russia and the US are at war, but we don't do it on our grounds. We do it on somebody else's.
Yeah, make other people suffer.
Trump is now saying something has to be done about Mexico.
We have to do something about Trump.
I don't know how you do that.
I found a nice meme that I wish were true that Mexico has agreed to pay for Trump's impeachment.
I never found that one.
It's supposed to be a joke.
Okay, well, it makes sense though.
I'll contribute to that.
Well, we're being recorded, so I'm not going to say anymore.
I have no problem being accountable for that statement myself.
Trump was impeached several times. What good did that do?
Exactly. Well, it turns out, hopefully, now we have more Republicans turning against him. I can never do what I promised, which is to just shut up.
Another amusing headline that the French government is under attack because they granted citizenship to the Clooneys. See, the Clooneys did what you're going to do, Sam. They moved out. And Sam is on mute, which is amazing.
I have to lock myself out, otherwise I end up talking. I'm tempted.
Jerry likes to
Ah,
call this a Quaker meeting.
All right, random question out of right field. What are you going to do today that's going to make you feel better or make others around you feel better?
Nothing.
Now, who's going to feel better because of that?
I've been
I can
immediately or
think.
long term?
watching old
And
Star Trek episodes.
so there's a new Star Trek starting on Paramount
Oh,
coming
really?
up. Yeah, brand new one.
Uh-huh.
Has interesting trailers. And meanwhile, it's time for me to say ta-ta
All right, Jack.
Bye,
Ta-ta,
Jack.
Jack.
to you all.
Bye. Hmm.
What's new about this latest Star Trek?
I haven't been following it, but I enjoy the old ones, and
Yeah.
that's sort of an escape for me. It's just to go back, see what life, what we were thinking about in the 1960s. So the episode I saw yesterday, it was where they go on a planet where um, the rulers have absolute power. They could freeze them and do everything, but then they're the community they're in is being attacked from the rest of the planet, and it turns out those people were like the American Indians, and they had been holding on to the principles of the United States. And, so they like viewed the Constitution as their holy book. So
Remember that episode?
you
Yes.
remember that one? Yeah.
Yeah. The Yanks and
Yeah,
what were
the
the other group?
Yanks, right?
Yeah.
They
Right.
they called them the Yangs, but it was the
Yeah.
Yanks, right?
Yeah.
But remember Kirk quoting the Constitution at the end.
Kirk always doing his overly dramatic, Shatnerization of the we,
Right.
the people. That means
Yeah.
all of us.
Right. So I just thought that was quite interesting the way they did that, and that's what was on their minds in the 60s. And
Yeah,
you got to remember, this was 67, 68, when
yeah.
a lot of crap was going on.
A lot of good ideas, good episodes, good writers.
Hmm. So that's my escape.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get into with all the other sequels of it.
Hmm.
It just seemed like, just regular soap opera.
Yeah. Oh, I was listening to a podcast which recommended the third season of Star Trek Picard when they brought back the whole cast, and I may rewatch that. Um, but that's me.
See, I have to admit, other than a few episodes of TNG, I've not watched any of the others.
Hmm.
I think I've seen most of the movies, though.
Yeah, the movies were good. But there's something timeless about that original series that led to all the sequels. So
Yes,
they got something
yes.
right in the storytelling, and then all the sequels have had, you know, similar stories. But the real question is, will we ever become those people who can get beyond our differences and go out and explore the universe and
Yeah.
deal with the aliens that, well, if we can get,
Sadly, I think in the last 2 weeks, you guys know who Michio Kaku is?
yeah.
I saw an episode which I didn't click on because I didn't like the title. But the clickbait was Michio Kaku being quoted as, "We will never be able to get to Mars, or we
Hmm.
will never be interstellar travelers,"
Mm,
something like that. And I said,
yeah,
"Damn it, I don't want to know that. I don't want to click on this.
yeah.
I have to go dance furiously."
Sounds like a plan.
And hey, by the way, Kayla,
Yeah.
my hips don't lie because they don't move.
What?
My hips don't lie because they don't move.
In water aerobics, we do hip exercises to keep the joints moving. It's easier in the water.
Actually, it's sad to say, now that Jack's gone, I think I'm the only person here who actually takes social security checks. We'll see whether or not that still continues.
Mhm.
But my understanding is that one of the benefits of it is free a gym club membership.
Mm.
So I haven't taken advantage of that yet. So I got to check into some of that. See if my hips can start moving again.
Mm. Yeah, you want to keep your real body parts as long as you can. I know someone who had hip surgery, got a titanium, and and tried to do bowling. Didn't work.
I'm seeing more and more studies about how leg strength is
Hmm.
correlated to longevity and brain health.
Mm, probably. Yeah,
I did my squats this morning.
cool.
Nice.
I did my stretches and my warm ups this morning. And the fact that I mentioned it, is an indicator of how seldom that actually happens.
Yeah, we got to keep motivating ourselves.
But I think I did mention, right, that I put all the food and the coffee maker and all the stuff downstairs. So every time I want something, I have to go downstairs. So I have to go at least, down and up every single time I want something. I usually do that about 10 to 20 times a day.
That helps.
Yeah. I intentionally did that. So I would have to go, up and down the stairs.
There you go. Intentionality. That's what we need. All right. Well, I'm going to get going soon. So
Okay. Well, sorry for being such a Debbie Downer.
that's all right. We It needs to be said, and then we pick ourselves up and move on.
All right. Either we'll see you tomorrow or we'll see you next weekend, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll be busy tomorrow, but thanks.
Ah, that's right. You got 2 rehearsals to go to, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All
Later,
right.
Eric.
Take it easy. Good seeing you guys.
Hi, Eric.
Bye. Bye, Kayla.
Hey.
Hey, so did you hear back about your application or your submission or any progress on that front?
No, they just have I just have an interview, my final presentation on the 14th.
Uh, well,
Yeah.
hopefully I wasn't too random with my comments and hopefully you got something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I'm glad that we went over it because if we hadn't gone over it, I probably wouldn't have caught what I caught. And I ended up rewriting everything from probably like the third or fourth page on. So
Hmm.
now it flows a lot better. Like
Good.
you can actually see what the plan is.
Right.
So it was a little bit random. Now it makes a lot of sense just based on that little tweak for the budget.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
The error
um
that you caught, would it have been fatal or was it just minor?
it wouldn't have looked good at all. It was
Oh.
like a huge error for the budget. It was
Mhm.
I took the let's see. I It was an oversight on my end with the years. The years were off. So there was the 2024 actuals
Mhm.
versus the 2024 internal budget, internal, revenue target, whatever.
Right. Right.
Um, but the what's called the breakdown, the category breakdown for 2024 was blacked out, so you couldn't see. Um, and then there's, of course, the 2025 budget, and then there's the target of the 2026. And
Mhm.
so, what actually caught me was when you said, "I'm impressed that they have 700,000 in individual giving," and I'm like,
Yes.
that's the funny thing is, that doesn't sound right. So when we got off the phone, I looked at it again, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's wrong," because I use like AI for the calculations
Uh-huh.
because I knew what I wanted, and this is where if I had a CFO in my disposal, I would have
Mhm.
asked the CFO like,
Yep.
okay, so we need to get from here to here, and then I would have broken out the pie and
Mhm.
strategized that way. I like to, I'm visual with my
Yes.
numbers.
Yes.
So anyhow, I was just like, oh, I was way off. That would have been awful if I had seen
That's why I was impressed with that number.
that. So I'm so glad we looked at it. You gave some pretty good insight too, because my next thing was I was going to give it a week, then I was going to look at the plan again and just
Hmm.
add put some slides together and add something that's more me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I kept the notes that you had said to elaborate on certain things. I forget what it was, but I've got the notes to remind me for when it comes.
Good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that AI does wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely.
a
In
lot.
fact, yeah, I always have to double or triple check whatever I ask AI, and sometimes it goes in circles. Like I have to correct one thing, and it introduces an error somewhere else. I have to correct that other error, and it reintroduces the first error. I found that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So you really have to read it. So it is a
Yes,
lot better when it starts from you, you know, and ends with you. You could always use AI like as a second person.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so that's what I was thinking about that. But another thing I caught too, which was really interesting, was the regional the regional events. Now, their regional events were geared more towards LA and more south, and of course the Inland Empire. But AI put Ventura County, and I asked it, I said, why did you put Ventura County? It's not even in the plan. And it said, oh, I'm really sorry. I was just using your location. Well, like, bitch, I didn't tell you what my location was.
It knows. It's tracked you
So,
down.
yeah.
Knows how to find
So
you.
that was really interesting. But I do find Copilot a lot better than I do than ChatGPT. I feel like
You know,
ChatGPT is like the
they
nice
are different.
grandma.
They're all very different. For general
Yeah,
things, I usually go to Perplexity. But for really technical coding and technical troubleshooting stuff, I've been finding Gemini can solve the problem, but it takes a long time doing it.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ChatGPT knows me the best. But I feel like it's like a caring grandma, you know? It's old and it just like tells you what you want to hear.
Ah,
So, and it's old school.
mhm. Well, I hope it's worth it. I certainly hope that you get the position because it sounds like there's a lot about it that you do like, and it seems like for a good cause.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that, they're allowing me to make a plan that we actually have a plan.
Are you kidding me? They're getting free work out of you.
Yeah. But I mean, fuck it, it's better than United Parents. There's no plan. There's not even like put a plan together. It's just really strange, you know.
In fact, you
So
could get Melissa to say, "Hey, let's hire somebody, but as part of the filtering process, let's have them do a plan."
yeah, yeah. I actually, I was thinking about making a plan for United Parents. So yeah, it's
Sounds
weird.
funny.
What?
But that's a thing that's notable to bring up.
Yeah,
You would think Melissa would appreciate it, as a matter of standard operating procedure.
right? No, it's very strange. I didn't realize I was working in corporate dysfunction for so long. It wasn't completely bad, I have to say. So, ay,
Are
ay,
you and
ay.
Melissa still on the way towards breakup, or are you guys possibly able to just make up?
I need more money. So this is like I need to make more money. That's the bottom line. And so if I do get an offer and it's remotely larger, like I looked at my pay stub just recently. I got a 2% raise. And I understand that the organization is trying to budget accordingly, but I don't think it's fair. Um, we like as a person in a managerial leadership position, I my work output is a lot heavier than um, you know the parent partners. I'm sorry, it is. Like I get it where they're coming from, but I don't think we all should have equal pay
Nope.
or equal raises. I think
Not the way we're currently
that's
structured.
terrible.
Nope.
Yeah, and then same with our bonuses, which was kind of a joke this year. We typically get like $500 bonuses at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the year.
Mm-hmm.
But we all each got a $200 Amazon gift card.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was terrible. But, again, they are actually adhering to a budget, which is a really good thing. But still.
Melissa sounds like she'd be able to take the organization much further if she would actually rely on other people to do what they're good at. Now, I say this about Melissa, but I'm also saying this about other CEOs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just her. It's not just her.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Oh,
No
well, I
stress.
actually have 2 interviews on Monday and then, you know, um, yeah, so we'll see.
What's happening the rest of the day?
I have a list for myself. Let's see. I am doing finances right now. I am going to update my calendar and probably loop in Max because my calendar partially revolves around him.
Mm,
We'll
excellent.
probably go grocery shopping, and then make something in the crock pot so it could last a couple of days. And then on top of that, I'll probably meal plan so we can tackle the week together. And then
Wow.
I'm cleaning too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah, sort of. Uh, and yourself? What are you doing?
Yesterday I was slowly unpacking and organizing because I'm still trying to get the second place. I'm starting working on the second place.
Nice. Nice.
But all the rain and bad weather has kept me from moving stuff into the storage container that I got a couple or 3 weeks ago. But did I tell you I got a green one? So it's not as hideous as, a purple or a red one. So at least got one that doesn't, pop out from the trees as much.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you're working on the downstairs
Yeah, but
place.
I've been emptying out the garage and I will have to. I've been looking at various people who could actually haul away all this junk to take it to the dump. I have a lot of
Oh,
furniture
okay.
that I'm not actually using. I have to figure out, how to pack things, how to move things into the storage unit, what things are not going to go into the storage unit. One of the big things I got to figure out is what to do with my mom's piano because it's a great
Aw.
piano, but I can't put it in a storage unit. I got to put it in the place. So I'm probably going to have to leave it in the house and make it a condition of rent that this is the item that's staying here.
Yeah.
And that they better not damage it.
Yeah.
I think everything else I can handle. Well, the electronics, yeah, man, that's going to be expensive. But if I actually do find a place, either in Italy or Southeast Asia, I want to ship most of my electronics because I love the sound that comes from good electronics, especially these good speakers that are very, very hard to find in this quality.
Mm.
But most of the affordable places that I can think about don't have rooms big enough for my speakers. So anyway, that's if that's the worst of my problems, I'm still okay. But that is not the worst of my problems.
Aw.
uh, I've been looking more lately at Bali.
Nice.
Really interesting what we can either rent or buy in Bali. Italy also looks better too because in these Southeast Asia countries, most of them, you cannot just buy property. You can buy a condo, but you can't buy a house with land. That's a problem.
Mm, yeah.
In Japan, I think you can, but the visa problems are harder there in Japan. But
All
in
right. Right.
Italy, it seems to look more straightforward in Italy.
Nice.
Also, like what I'm finding about Montenegro and Albania and Estonia.
Right. Right.
It's popping up some more. But I'd stick out like a sore thumb there. I think they have very few Asians. But that's okay. All I want is a nice quiet place, access to good food, good air, reliable electricity, good internet, good water. That's pretty much all I need.
Yeah.
And if I ever back up a little bit and think, what a tremendous cliff this country dropped into just in the last year. And nothing's
Yeah.
happened to change my direction, which is to go find someplace else to live. Even
Yeah.
if this country fixed itself, the more I'm finding out, the more I'm finding, people treat each other better, food is better, transportation and infrastructure is better, cost of living is better, people live healthier, they're not quite so consumed with, working 60, 80-hour weeks, except in Japan. That's the one place that is an exception to that rule.
Right. Right.
So even if this country looked like it was going back onto a good path, there's still plenty of other places that are just right now, today, better places to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. No, you cannot go in the front yard. Did you hear that?
I heard something knocking against something.
He's ringing the bells because he wants to go in the front yard, but he can't go in the
Ah,
front yard. Yeah, because it's
why?
raining.
Oh, because it's raining. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Rocky. Good old Rocky. He's funny. He's so smart. You could go in the backyard. I mean, it's raining in the backyard too, but um, if he goes in the front yard, I have to
Walk
watch
them
him.
off.
No, I have to watch them, and sometimes there's people with other dogs that walk through, and
Yeah. You
the
don't have a fence up
Eclipse
in the
goes.
front yard?
I do, but Eclipse goes crazy,
Oh,
and she's the jumper. She's the one that if she figured out that she could probably jump the fence, she will. There's the actual door to the fence that leads out is shorter than the actual fence itself by like a foot. She can actually jump that door.
yeah.
But she, because when the dogs walk by, they're closer to that, to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Then she just like goes crazy. So I don't have to worry about that short fence because she's not smart enough to realize she could jump that.
One day
Like
she
she can
might
go
figure
over
it
there.
out.
Exactly. So that's why I watch them. Like
Yeah.
in the summertime, you'll see me or you'll probably hear me outside, um, because I sit out there and I let the dogs just hang out because they like to watch people watch and watch the cars go
Hmm.
by, and
Sure.
it's a change of scenery.
Do you have a big beware of dogs sign up front?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have two. I have to be aware of dog sign. One of them is like on the corner of the fence. So as people approach it, there's a small sign. And then one's on the gate to the house. And the one on the gate to the house is please keep this gate closed. Dogs in the yard.
Yeah. No, whenever I'm taking my dogs anywhere, like to a festival or farmer's market or sidewalk or on a walk, and people come up and
Uh-huh.
say, "Oh, beautiful dogs, can I pet them?" I always warn them. I always say, "Yeah, you can, but be careful. They're liable to lick you." That's the worst thing a
That's a
golden
good
will
one.
do.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, not bad. I'm looking at my finances right now, and I was able to at least reduce my debt. And so,
Good job.
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I thought I'd shut the fuck up too and let you guys talk and
I
focus on
couldn't keep
something.
from shutting up. You probably noticed. There were these awkward pauses. I was wondering whether to let it go.
Well, I mean, I enjoy listening to you talk. I'm pretty sure everybody else enjoys listening to you talk. That's why they come in.
Aren't I a Debbie Downer though, especially today?
Well, you're kind of a Debbie Downer lot.
Thank you. Yes. You're a true friend. Give it to me with no bullshit.
Well, you bring up problems that's difficult for people to bring up. They're politically charged, most of them,
Mhm.
and nobody really wants to talk about them because I've noticed that a lot of people just aren't comfortable with um, hard problems to discuss, or they agree, and it's like, who's are we going to solve it? It's just one of those things. Is like, do we even bring it up? Can we for solve it? Um, and I think that's why people, it's almost kind of like, why even bring it up?
I
And
still
then
think that's unfortunate. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
no, it is, but we've all kind of talked to each other before, so I think it's kind of like we've currently reached our capacity. But it's good to bring it up, I guess, because perhaps we can gain insight from some of our experiences, um, on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm. Well, that's why I kind of bring up these other lists of questions, which is not just, I don't like it when I'm just mired in negativity, but I'm asking other questions like, how do we get out of it? Where do
Yeah,
we want to go? How do we get there? What's likely to fight us in getting there? How do we deal with that? Those are attempts to try and not
yeah,
just be mired in the negativity, but to actually think about what we can do.
yeah.
There is one question I've been pussyfooting around that I have not asked yet. I haven't mustered up the chutzpah to ask it yet.
What pussyfooting do you need to do? I'm
Well,
sorry.
it's on the record, so it will be apparent. But I have not yet asked Eric
Sorry.
what he thinks
Uh-huh.
of what's going on in Israel and Gaza.
Oh, I feel like he'd be he'd be okay with that. Well, I feel like even if he wouldn't be okay with that question, um, he'll be at least nice about not being okay with that question.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Eric is
Yeah.
is a very mature, very reasonable person.
I noticed he's kind of proper too.
Hmm. Oh, did I tell you in another, since you bring up the word proper, I free associated to something else, part of my ADHD. Okay. I was in an investing class. In fact, the one that I sent you a screenshot of.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of it, someone said we were exchanging goodbyes and pleasantries, and somebody said, that I was crunchy. Did I mention this?
No,
And I didn't know
crunchy.
what crunchy meant,
Okay.
but they said, no, 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 it's a good thing. And so I took it as a compliment, and then I looked it up, and it was meant as a compliment. You've never
Yeah.
come across that term?
Yeah. I just didn't
Oh,
know if
you
there was
have.
another term. I didn't know if there was another term for crunchy in the finance world.
Oh, no, 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 no. It was we were not doing finance at that point. It was more socialization,
Oh,
or
interesting.
socializing.
Okay. Well, in that case, I don't know if I'd find you crunchy, but
Okay,
like,
so what does crunchy mean first to you?
so it's like kind of natural. Um, it's like it's there are crunchy. I just know it more for crunchy moms. The ones who like make their own granola.
Mm.
The ones who let their kids play outside, as opposed to giving them electronics. The ones who will homeschool, that's a huge sign of a crunchy mom. Um, the ones who will like distill their own water. That to me is, but I don't know. I don't find you to embody what I
Okay.
know to be crunchy. Yeah.
Maybe they're just being polite.
They're like, oh, you're crunchy. What other words were you
All right,
thinking they
now
might
you took me down
think?
a couple notches now.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm now walking with my tail between my legs again.
Oh, no, no. It just made me think like, what? Probably because you live remote. Maybe that's why. And it's like, they think you're crunchy is because you live like
And I never
in a
comb my
fairly
hair
remote.
and I never shave.
You're the one who said
Hey, I have no problem with saying that.
it. Speaking of which, my sister was telling me about this influencer that she follows, and he is extreme when it comes to his money. Like, he uses the same toothbrush. He's used the same toothbrush for years. Um, he'll wear his clothes to the point where they've got holes in them. Just like some crazy, very extreme things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Another one, I'm trying to think of an extreme way.
You think of that as extreme, huh?
That's exactly what I'm like. I don't know. Is it really extreme? You know? Because to me, like, do we really need new toothbrushes all the time? I mean, if they get yellow or they get crusty or hard, um, like they still clean your teeth, yeah?
Yeah, as long as you're not too concerned about the bacteria that's still growing on them.
Yeah. But there's ways to get the bacteria out.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Same with like women who are all natural, right? Like, do we really need makeup? It's just for aesthetic
No,
purposes,
me?
you know?
No, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like, well, everyone's doing it. And I don't want to look like shit according
You
to
don't
today's
look like
beauty
shit
standards.
when you
No, I'm
actually
not talking
appear
about me,
normally.
fool.
No, I'm talking about you as in you women.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, whatever. It's I get it.
Well,
I
that's a
totally
first.
get
I
it.
think that's the first time you called me a fool.
I've walked away from my computer, by the way. No. Let me ask you something. I feel like you and I laugh a lot,
Yeah.
I wonder why I don't see or hear any laughter in these meetings, or in any meetings for that matter. I mean, are
What
they
you mean with
wildly
Jack and Eric?
inappropriate? Yeah. Or like even in the past meetings we've had, that's the reason why I loved it when Tyra showed up like a few years ago, is
Mhm.
because she would introduce laughter. And I
Mhm.
feel like we need that. We need that in our meetings.
Yeah.
Just in general.
A bunch of us take
Like,
us take each other too seriously.
yeah, being smart, does that mean you have to be so serious?
No, that's typically because you're insecure, is when people feel like they have to be serious.
Yeah, exactly. There's like tribal elders who are very respected who just like straight up say, well, what's life if you can't laugh a little, or they make jokes.
I think you got to be a little bit, self-confident and assured to know that, hey, you're going to fuck up sometimes and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And people who are, not okay with that feel like they have to be serious all the time.
yeah, yeah. I've just
And
noticed that in meetings in general, when everybody convenes, it's a little serious. I mean, I don't think you should be too like laughing all the whole time, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, there's a
you
time to
shouldn't
be
be
serious in this.
destructively distracted, and you shouldn't be mocking whatever's going on. But a few
Yeah,
moments of levity and perspective, I think, are perfect.
exactly. And I also feel like, I don't know, maybe we'll some if you don't get okay, maybe we'll actually get some shit done. Maybe if there was a little bit of levity, in politics, then maybe we'll get some shit done. Like good ones, not terrible ones. Um, I don't know. That's a thought.
I
Probably a
understand what you
wild
mean
thought.
there, but I think it's less likely to happen in politics, especially, today. And you've heard me say this before, especially when dumb people vote and dumb people actually take office. You know, they're the ones that are going to try and take themselves seriously, and they're not going to understand levity, or they'll take levity wrong.
They take their stupidity seriously.
That's right, they do. It's this, Isaac Asimov said it once before. Freedom of speech does not mean that your casual opinion is as good as some PhD researchers, 24 years, study of some topic. No, that's not what it fucking means. Okay, that's not freedom of speech. And
You can say
U.S. population
anything.
U.S. population does not understand that shit.
I know. I know.
Freedom of speech, I think somebody else said this too, is also the freedom to be mocked if you actually say something stupid. And people who are too insecure and too stupid, they hate being mocked. I mean, just look at Trump.
But he mocks people.
Absolutely. There's no fairness in the way they think. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
It's
he'll
because they don't
criticize,
see any
some
consequences.
reporter who's disabled, and yet when somebody makes fun of him, he says, "Go arrest that person, put him in prison, deport him."
What's a
What an ass!
extremely low emotional intelligence and true intelligence for
I
that
think he
matter.
scored the
But
lowest of any entity I've ever seen. And unfortunately, he draws that out of 70 million stupid people in this country. And that's why we have stupid Congress, not stupid, but a corrupt Congress, a corrupt SCOTUS, a corrupt president, a corrupt cabinet. And this company just basically fell off a cliff, for the last year.
yeah, yeah.
But you've heard me say that before.
I have, but that's okay. You can say it again. I say the
Let me
same things to my.
let me mansplain this to you, okay? All right, just in case you don't understand me. Max, wake up.
No, it's Eclipse. He wants my attention. Yeah, she's such a baby.
Is Eclipse a lap dog?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
All my girls are lap dogs.
she doesn't straight up go on my lap, but she constantly wants attention. She'll lean on me. She'll give me her dog hugs.
But
She'll
wait, if
sleep
you actually
next to
pick her
me.
up and put her in your lap, she doesn't stay?
Well, number one, I can't really pick her up.
Really? She that big?
Yeah, she's well, not as strong as I used to be too. She's like 50 pounds.
You need to do some more curls.
Well, and then she's kind of squirrely too. It's an awkward carry.
Yeah,
Like when I
that
do,
is awkward. That is hard.
yeah, when I do pick her up, and I do from time to time, I have to scoop both of my arms underneath her,
Mm.
you know, and then she looks kind of funny. I'll take a picture of it one day.
But don't you remember when Max and Damien were both about 50 pounds? You still picked them up, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't as awkward. I could like pull them up and hoist them on my hip, and they could put their legs around me, not the dog. The dog just goes limp, or they get all squirrely. They're like, "Let me go." Ay, ay,
No,
ay.
my dogs are 75 and 85 pounds, and they're still lap dogs. They'll stay as long as I let them.
Yeah, it's so cute. I wake up in the middle of the night and Eclipse is like snoring next to me.
Hmm. It's a good
It's so
feeling.
cute.
It
Yeah,
means that
it
they
is a
feel
good
safe
feeling.
around you.
Yeah, I love it when she follows me around, like she's following me around right now. She's watching me wipe
I
down the
love,
kitchen.
see, too bad you don't have a cat. I have, the two Goldens, and they'll be sleeping on the bed. And then Tatami, my other Golden, will be sleeping right next to them. Okay. Or right up against my leg, which is only like inches from them. So I love that they're so comfortable, that Tatami is so
Oops,
comfortable with the
sorry.
dogs.
Yeah. How are you
They
gonna
really get along.
if you move,
I'm going to
how are you
take them.
gonna
I got
yeah,
to take them.
are you just gonna get
I'm
a
not going to
private
abandon my
jet with
zoo.
all of them?
Well, I have to figure that out. I have
Or are
to
you
maybe
gonna
go
like
Air Italia, or I have to go, on a boat, or, something. But yeah, I'm not going to abandon.
yeah, of course. But they do have private charters, it's just expensive.
Yep. Well, if I just have to do it one time, so that means I have to go visit these places, and then decide, and then do the
Yeah.
expensive transfer, of animal. And I'm not going to have them go in any cargo hold, any shit like that.
Yeah, I know. That would be my thing. I'd be like, no, no, thank you.
Tatami is borderline. He's 26 pounds, but I might be able to just put him in a bag, and put him in a seat next to me. But the
Put
dogs,
them in a bag.
no, really, like a cat carrier, except it'll be a
Yeah, I
dog
know.
carrier, not a cat carrier.
I don't know why I thought of like an actual like plastic bag. Cats in the bag.
That's right.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I'm not one to abandon my zoo.
Yeah, I know. Huh. We can't abandon you, can we? Right? Right. I have to visit my mom today. I told her that I would look through my dad's stuff. What? My
I
MAGA
just remember
mom?
our
Is that what you're
last
laughing
our
about?
last yeah conversation.
Oh my God. I spoke with my sister about it.
And
I said, I told her everything. I said it's not the whole, it's not even really her saying that she supports Trump. I mean, that's a huge part of my disappointment, but the disappointment comes in um, dismissing what I know to be true.
Does she? She dismisses what you say?
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. That's why, like, I have this love-hate relationship with my mom. She just dismisses what I say. Like,
Hey,
I
Taylor.
don't know what it is. No, I'm serious. I really, I feel like, I don't know where it stems from. Jealousy. That's all I could think of, is
Kayla.
maybe there's like some jealousy or something, but it's like it never happened. What I know to be true never happened. And that's the most frustrating thing. Like, even more frustrating than the whole Trump supporting thing is that dismissal that it never happened. So that's the thing, like, that's been the premise of our relationship. She is very dismissive of things that have happened. Like, she will be like, no, that didn't happen. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, really? Like, oh man. And so, anyways, I was able to articulate that to my sister, and she goes, well, I need you, mom needs you to be understanding. And I said, well, then I need her to be accountable. And I said, I need you guys to back me up. And I was telling her, I don't need you guys to infantilize our mom. Like, she is a strong woman. She's a lot stronger than she lets on to. And she, like, is if she thinks that our dad was a Trump supporter, which he was not, and she even said he wasn't, then she is heading towards dementia. And I need you guys to, like, help me navigate that, because if it happens, it's going to be terrible, you know? So, anyhow.
Well, for what it's worth, there's some things that, I don't see eye to eye on with my dad. My mom's very easygoing. It's my
Yeah.
dad who, thinks that I've made, just horrible choices in my life and is a disappointment and embarrassment to him. But I know that I'm not going to change my dad. He's not going to change.
Yeah.
So I just have to accept him, and still visit him and, still go see him and still do whatever and still talk to him every week.
Yeah, that's the work I need. I need to work on that. That's my work. Is I know. I mean, I guess it was told to me that I should ask my mom for forgiveness for expecting her to be somebody that she's not. It's just hard when it clashes with it clashes with my own ethics, number one, and number
Yeah.
two, when she's dismissive. Like, how are you gonna, like, that's where I am, like, truly would love to know how to do that without losing a part of myself, you
You're
know?
not losing any part of yourself if she thinks differently.
Even
And
if it's
she
like,
may never forgive you, but that should be okay, It's just that's just her.
oh, she doesn't. The funny thing is, she has nothing against me. And that's the sad part, is like, as ignorant as she is, it's part of her ignorance is she has nothing against me, because ignorance is bliss.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
I guess she doesn't know then, how you guys have different perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, I would just accept that. She's not going to all of a sudden, think as a systems thinker or model-based thinker or, you know, she's not going to do that.
That's just
If it
worrisome.
hasn't happened by now, it's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just
20,
this.
30 years ago. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just this, like, whole denial too is bothersome, and it's kind of a red flag in her mental health. Like her wires are clearly just they have crossed if she doesn't remember that that her husband did not vote for Trump. Like he was not, my dad was not like that. And she had even said he wasn't like that. And that's where it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here?
If there were incontrovertible proof that your dad did not vote for Trump, would she accept it or would she just deny it?
Um, I don't know. That's the thing. Like if there was a recording of him saying, "Yeah, no, I didn't vote for him and I never will," or if there was like a piece of paper, she might. I just don't know how bad her mental health is right now.
Yeah. I would say if I were you, I'd have to be okay with her never understanding.
Yeah.
You can
What do you
only
do about the
control
denial
what you
part?
do. Just understand it. Just deal with it. Not let it interfere with everything else.
Yeah.
She's not going to change. Or just say, don't expect her to change. You're okay with her never changing. And if she does, that's just, frosting.
Yeah. I guess I just won't bring it up.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, that just reminds me of how other megas have shown up. They deny, they don't want to look at the truth, and they can't be reasoned with. Any belief they have that was not arrived at via reason is not going to change via reason. And those beliefs
It's
were not arrived at with reason.
this always makes me wonder, like, what is the big picture of this world, if there is any? You know, I I saw something, I read something that said God isn't random. But this is random unless we can find like what is the educational portion of this? Is it as a result of the system failing and we need to pay more attention to the system? Is it as simple as that? Is it the result of disconnection of human beings and capitalism and a lot of the things that we've built into for, now thousands of years? Are we not?
This is a
It,
dangerous topic, Kayla.
is it the result of not taking care of the planet, and therefore the planet is poisoning us by, I don't know.
I don't know if you heard me, but I do think this is a dangerous topic.
Yeah, I did hear you. Why is it dangerous?
Because I don't have the same notion of God as you do.
Yeah, I figured.
But I do have
What
the
about the
notion of
notion?
what. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say, what about connection? If you don't think of God, what about connection? What about society? What about like the earth?
Yes. I mean, all of those things are actual, real, important entities, just like the universe, just like physics, just like mathematics, just like ecology, just like other species, just like society, like civilization, like psychology, like humans. All of that is important, and all of that is worth exploring. But this notion of God, I don't know how to explore that notion of God because there's no way to test anything you think about God.
How about if you like thought about God like the force? Because the
Like
force
the
is kind of
the
like
the,
that.
the one source, the source of everything.
It replaced by everything. It's a
Yeah.
word replaced by everything.
Yes. Basically, I think, if you replace the simplest view is if you replace any reference that you might have of God, that I would use the universe in place of the word God, then yes, everything makes sense to me.
Okay. Okay. So let's frame it as that. What lesson is the universe trying to tell us?
I actually don't think there's much that is random. Random is a characterization of our own understanding and the limitations thereof.
So the
So
universe is
anytime
not
somebody's,
random.
yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
I would say it's not random in the sense that we think of random, because we say random when we can't understand something.
Right.
We think, oh, that person is just acting randomly because we don't understand what's driving that person. But if you had a deeper understanding of that person, it would probably be pretty clear, associated with history, past traumas, behaviors, lessons learned, treatment by parents, treatment by ex. Then it probably wouldn't be so random. If we don't understand any of that, then it can say, yeah, pretty random.
Hmm.
I used to think that, why did that person cut themselves? Because I had no understanding until I looked into it, until, other people explained it to me, especially women,
Yeah.
sadly. Or what does that person babble to themselves? It looks pretty random, right? But then you kind of understand that the deeper you look into it. So I
Yeah.
think randomness is a characterization of our own lack of understanding
Right. Right.
to me. So we don't understand much about the universe. That's why much about the universe looks random to us.
Right. Right. Therefore, strengthening um, that saying that the universe is not random,
Yes, because the
i.e.,
more you
God.
look into it, yeah, the more you
Uh-huh.
look into it, the more things make sense. Oh, I can explain that with a pulsar. Oh, I can explain that because of the, asteroid belt. Oh, I can explain that with gravity. Oh, I can explain that with kinetic energy. Or, but, when people didn't understand any of that shit, they just said, oh, whoa, God decided to do that. That was okay because that was the limit of people's understanding at the time.
Now, herein lies a problem. Okay. Some of the examples that you said, like cutting and people babbling, those random acts that people generally, smart people like us generally kind of understand and are at peace with. Currently, the state of the politics right now here in the United States, um, I do not understand, but I do have a grasp of an understanding, but I am not at peace with. You know, that's what that's what's really disappointing because you kind of understand where some of it is coming from, but I'm still not at peace with that understanding.
Yes, I agree. Understanding does not mean being at peace with, not necessarily.
But it's like, yeah, I guess so.
Like I couldn't understand why Israel is bombing the shit out of Gaza. That doesn't mean I'm at peace with it.
Yeah. And so therefore we continue to ask the question why.
That's only one of the questions that we should be asking, right? But it is definitely an important one.
Yeah. What, Rocky? No. Around this time is usually when I open the door. That's why.
Oh, for the dog, for Rocky to go out.
Yeah. He
Don't
loves
let me
pacing.
hold you up. Go outside if you need to. Okay.
Well, I do have to go. Oh, it's already 10:22. Max has to wake up. He has to eat because he's
Okay.
going to practice today. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, this is a good conversation.
Yes. I do like it when we can be frank with each other and, laugh at a few things and not take things
Yeah,
too seriously and ask the questions that can't be asked elsewhere.
exactly. Yep. And there you go. There's the ring.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Same here.
These
I'll talk.
conversations, Jack, Eric, whoever, Heiner, I do appreciate these opportunities.
Absolutely. All
All
right.
right. Well, say hi to Max for me.
You got it. We'll talk to
Okay.
you later.
Later. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.